Why China is rolling out its digital currency now. Experts say that the second biggest event of 2020, obviously after the coronavirus pandemic, is the rollout of China's new state-controlled virtual coin, the Digital Currency Electronic Payment, or DCEP. This project is by no means something new, but it has many wondering why the Chinese government decided to roll it out precisely now, when the world is struggling with COVID-19. Part of a Chinese master plan that we're only now beginning to comprehend? What does it have to do with Facebook, and why is the West so worried about it? Sit tight and turn up the volume on your earphones while we uncover the truth behind China's biggest financial move of the decade. But first, support us by subscribing to our channel. Give us a like and hit the notifications bell so you don't miss any new videos. Is the DCEP a cryptocurrency? Since its announcement on November 12, 2019, China's Digital Yuan, or Digital Currency Electronic Payment, which is its real name, has made headlines. Naturally, the first thing everyone thought was that China had launched its own cryptocurrency. This was a shock considering that China banned ICOs, short for initial coin offerings, based on concerns regarding the illicit use of cryptocurrencies. However, even though the digital yuan does share some common aspects of Bitcoin and other cryptos, like relying on blockchain technology, there is one key difference. While many cryptocurrencies are created as a way to bypass the traditional banking system, ensuring complete anonymity, the state-backed digital yuan does the complete opposite. The entire blockchain that makes this currency possible is completely managed and controlled by government regulators, which means they will be able to trace every single transaction made from the start. This is taking Big Brother to a whole new level. So the DCEP is not really a cryptocurrency, it is a centralized digital currency. While government officials say that the idea is to ensure better oversight of the country's economy, helping to combat corruption and counterfeiting, the truth seems to point in another direction. We'll talk about the most bone-chilling theories in just a moment, so stay tuned and pay attention till the end to see how and if this affects your finances in the new decade. How will the DCEP work? It's still too soon to say exactly how things will look once China actually launches the digital yuan, but one thing's for sure, it will make use of China's two largest privately owned payment networks, Alibaba's Alipay and Tencent's WeChat Pay. These two companies are already at the head of China's shift to digital payments, and they process billions of payments every single day. Apparently, the People's Bank of China will let users keep a digital wallet they can use to make payments in digital yuan through the said apps. However, probably one of the most interesting uses of this currency will be for international trading, which could give the yuan the momentum it needs to be used globally and possibly challenge the US dollar. You won't believe the implications of the US dollar losing ground to the digital yuan as an international trade currency. Keep watching to find out how this can impact all of us. When will the digital yuan officially launch? First of all, the DCEP, or e-renminbi, isn't going to see a full-scale launch this year. There will be a controlled rollout of this new digital currency in several Chinese cities, including the new high-tech Zhong'an district. For the moment, the rollout is focused on consumer goods and food purchases, with several companies being authorized to receive payments from the digital wallet app. In order to incentivize its use, some government officials will receive part of their salary in digital yuan as well. For now, there is no definitive date for this release, but the Chinese government wants everything in place and working for the 2022 Winter Olympic Games. Surprisingly, Starbucks, McDonald's, and Subway are among the firms that will be accepting DCEP payments once this digital currency rolls out. Some people see this as selling out and betraying the very country where they were born. Would you say these companies are traitors to the cause? Share your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to give us a like while you're at it. Let's get back to the video. Will the digital yuan overtake the US dollar? This is the million-dollar question. Will this common phrase change to become the million e-yuan question? In other words, can the yuan replace the US dollar as the most widely used currency in international trade and reserves? Well, if Washington doesn't buckle up, put the pedal to the metal, and launch a centralized digital dollar backed by the Federal Reserve, it may well happen. Even though there had been some talks in the US about a Fed coin for a few years now, it all seems to be discredited quickly by the US government. So China's move is only the first we've seen from a major central bank. But more will follow, and the West needs to hop on the bandwagon. The only real contender right now is Facebook's Libra, but the problems Facebook has with the regulators in the US and the sheer size of the competition that the yuan imposes, it's unlikely for Libra to prosper. Now you're probably sitting in your room watching this video and asking yourself, how could this possibly affect you? What's the big deal? Surprisingly, as you will learn coming up next, it has huge implications for all of us. Iran, terrorism, and the war against drugs. One of the most prized assets the United States has, besides its nuclear arsenal, is the hegemony of the US dollar. You see, the fact that over 90% of all global transactions are made in USDs, and that more than half of all international reserves around the globe are also in the same currency, gives the US government a huge amount of leverage over the global economy. When used intelligently, this leverage has the potential to produce the kind of wealth that sustains the American way of life. But losing ground to the yuan isn't bad just because of a shattered dream of white picket fences. The US dollar's hegemony is also the most important tool for the US to impose its sanctions on foreign nations in the name of freedom, the fight against terrorism, and the war on drugs. Being able to trade in other countries would allow warmongering nations to bypass those sanctions and to carry on with their nuclear weapons and tactical missiles research. Imagine if North Korea could, all of a sudden, import whatever it wanted from whomever they wanted to further develop their own nuclear arsenal. We've covered the what, the who, and the how, so now let's talk about the why. Why is China rolling out the digital yuan now? When you think about it, it makes total sense that China would launch its own digital currency, considering that most of the Chinese population is already paying for everything with their mobile phones anyway. China is simply doing what it has done for the past couple of decades, growing into an economic superpower and setting a new world order, while claiming that they're launching it to protect China's foreign exchange sovereignty. But why go through all of that precisely now, in the middle of a pandemic? As it turns out, it was a very smart move, and here's why. Number 1. Being the first of its class and launching in the middle of a pandemic means that the yuan will roll out completely uncontended, making it likelier to succeed. Number 2. China was the first hit by the pandemic, but also the first to recover. So while the whole world is struggling and in need for medical supplies, China will be happy to deliver, and could impose the use of the yuan as currency once it rolls out. Number 3. The announcement of the virtual yuan's imminent rollout had an enormous effect on many Chinese stocks, which skyrocketed right in the middle of the worst financial crisis the world has ever seen. This may well be part of the reasons President Trump wants to delist Chinese companies from US stock markets to level the playing field, while using coronavirus as the main reason to punish China for withholding information and influencing the World Health Organization. When we see just how well China is coming out of COVID-19 and how they have managed to use the pandemic to their advantage, it almost makes you wonder whether the whole thing wasn't orchestrated from the start. Coronavirus and all the wet markets and labs. That rounds up our video on why China is rolling out their new virtual currency now. Do you think that the pandemic was just part of a sinister plan for global economic domination? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed this video, please be sure to give us a like and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next one.